Breaking right now, Florence fighting its way to Charlotte.
These cruel floodwaters are life-threatening and destructive.
Already tonight, buildings destroyed, power is out, and the rain keeps falling.
On the coast, unrest and uncertainty, while some are holding on to hope.
A lot of people have lost a lot of stuff. Segregate, ma'am. And we're fortunate to be able to help them out in their time of need.
NBC Charlotte team coverage tracking Florence continues right now.
4 people, including a mom and infant, killed when a tree fell on their home in Wilmington.
Parts of our viewing area could see historic flooding.
Already tonight, a lot of damage from trees and power lines. And breaking just into our newsroom, a water rescue in Harnett County. You can see crews pulling the car out of the flooded road and saving the people that were inside it. This is really a good reminder that you should never drive down a flooded road, even if the water is just a couple of inches deep.
Yep, we just drove up on this. We've got the EMS coming in right now, thank God. All right, this is at Elizabeth and Pineville Matthews Road. They just pulled a man out of this car. It looks like it hit a tree, and you can see it's now on fire. They have him over here. Hold on. Oh my God, thank God we got this man out of the truck.
But right now I am in Matthews, and I'm between 2 vehicles that were absolutely crushed by a massive tree. We'll show you a bit of the damage here. This truck, you can see some of the damage right here.
I wanted to come to this side and show you because we talked about the white capping of the floods. Take a look. The water is coming off the road. It is rushing down like a stream, and it's coming down and just hooking around this corner and going into this underpass, and it is forcing its way down into the drains.
But we have crews scattered throughout strategically to give you a bird's eye view of what the recovery is like at this hour in the storm zone. We begin with our Rachel Lundberg, who is in Lumberton, watching those animal rescues take place at this time. Rachel, what's the latest?
Fred, it's absolutely unbelievable. I have been speechless for the past 2 hours or so. We have been on this boat. Let me flip the camera so I can show you guys. I'm doing this on my phone because it's limited space on this boat, as you can see, so bear with the audio. But we've rescued, and I'm with PETA, and they're doing all of this work right now. We've rescued this dog here, is exhausted. Unbelievable how they've survived. Who knows how long they have been left in these houses. 2 dogs, a cat in this crate. We had to combine 3 cats here. There's 2 cats and a kitten, and the kitten has been latched on to the female here, just trying to get some milk, probably starving. Right now, as we've just been looping around this neighborhood that is completely underwater. I mean, it's a current flowing. It feels like a river that obviously shouldn't be here.
We're just going to show you the rest of this backyard. Devin is doing a great job, and you can see the fence, and you can see how high the water is. And over the fence, you can't quite see that, but wow, it's usually empty, and it is full, and it looks more like a river.
This is Austin, active shooter.
Everybody started running back the other way.
That's when it started to get more intense.
The suspect was armed with a pistol and had shot several students.
Shootings has become normalized in America in terms of mass shooting.
Scenes like this playing out all night long, students holding each other, friends helping friends, young people coming together after seeing absolute horror. We know a lot of you are doing the same.
Here's the latest at 11. 2 people are dead. Sources telling us they are both men, but we haven't confirmed that they are students. 3 others are in critical condition, and a 4th person is stable tonight. Police tell us the gunman entered a classroom in the Kennedy building with a pistol. Didn't say a word, according to witnesses, and started shooting.
NBC Charlotte's Michelle Bowden begins our team coverage on the UNCC campus.
You know, 5 hours after the shooting, students here still say they are still very much in shock. They say there is a small sense of relief that the worst is behind them, but there is still a whole lot of sadness for what happened here today.
Someone ran in, yelled, "There's an active shooter, get down." It was chaotic.
It's happened here.
These people just ran out.
An active shooter on the UNC Charlotte campus. 2 people dead, 3 more in critical condition, and a 6th victim said to be doing okay. Police got the call at 5:40.
Possibly an active shooter with several people injured.
About a shooter in the Kennedy building at the center of campus.
Just confusion. I didn't know what was going on.
He was supposed to be in class where the shooting happened, but had to fix something for his finals presentation and went to the library instead.
Probably not even like 5 minutes later, apparently he walked in and started shooting people. And I heard people run on the hallways, screaming shooter and all that, and we kind of just put the table in front of the door.
A campus-wide alert went out telling all students and staff to run, hide, fight, and shelter in place.
We were all in class, and someone in our class got a text message saying there's an active shooter on campus. After hearing that, we just ran.
Police tell us they arrested 22-year-old Tristan Terrell in a classroom and that he had a pistol on him. They say he didn't say a word. This Twitter video shows police leading him away in handcuffs, and our cameras were there as the suspect was led into police headquarters. You can see he turned to our cameras and smiled. Sources tell us he was a history major that had dropped out of school earlier this semester. Students say it was surreal to live through.
God bless. I'm here. I'm safe. Everyone else out here is safe. I feel for those two who lost their lives, their loved ones.
It's an NBC Charlotte Defender exclusive. Take a look at this video. It shows the security risk under the streets of Charlotte, one that could still be accessed by people who want to cause catastrophic damage. The vulnerability of what's lurking under our city streets is something we first exposed in 2012, before the Democratic National Convention.
Now, as the city prepares for the 2020 RNC, the Defenders took our cameras back underground, where the same network of tunnels and pipes under some of Uptown's most popular buildings still pose a threat.
7 years after city leaders first raised concerns. So why hasn't it been fixed?
Below Charlotte's noisy streets, there's a quiet underground, complete with a massive network of tunnels, arteries that extend through the heart of the Queen City and run near and underneath some of Charlotte's hottest spots. They're meant to prevent flooding by funneling rainwater, but someone with bad intentions could use them to create another kind of disaster. And all you need to access them are rain boots, a flashlight, and a little know-how.
When you look at it from explosives, improvised explosive devices being detonated underneath the city could be catastrophic.
Those words from former FBI Assistant Director Chris Zwecker.
Well, it's surprising it hasn't been completely secured. It's a known vulnerability.
Yet here we are. Photojournalist Ken Shermer right there and myself have spent the last 15 minutes or so exploring this tunnel, walking within earshot of one of Charlotte's busiest highways. If you listen closely, you can hear 277 above our heads. The city has a series of outlets that intentionally allow water to exit and unintentionally let people enter, including this one near a city park, which the city's publicly available map shows leads near the Convention Center and NASCAR Hall of Fame.
How about that? You're gonna die?
And we're not the only ones who know about it, evident by all the graffiti sprayed up and down the tunnel.
That's crazy.
There's also this one, which according to the city's stormwater maps, travels right in front of the Spectrum Center.
Unbelievable.
That's how city leaders responded to NBC Charlotte's original report in 2012.
I don't imagine that come September you'll still have that same free access.
At the time, the city promised safety measures would be completed at the right time and right locations. We've only found one addition that could stop someone, and it's so faint we didn't even notice it when we first walked in.
Okay, so I just saw this.
A faded no trespassing sign.
You can barely see it, but another faded no trespassing sign.
Those signs are posted at other entry points too.
It says hazardous confined space.
I think we've been lulled into a sense of complacency since 9/11.
Zwecker says a sign isn't going to stop someone who wants to hurt others.
As the calendar flipped to 2018, luck flipped against the Panthers. First, a devastating playoff loss to a division rival.
Blitz, a sack, Saints win.
Then the team put up for sale by a disgraced owner.
Jerry Richardson is putting the Carolina Panthers up for sale.
And a star veteran suspended for performance-enhancing drugs.
And I don't want to leave on a sour note.
The Tepper era is underway.
But now a new season kicks off with a new face in the owner's booth, a new face on the coaching staff, and new stars on the field.
Will the changes have the Panthers roaring again? We preview the 2018 season next on Panthers Primetime. Welcome in, everybody. This is Panthers Primetime. I'm your host, Nick Carboni, and we've got lots coming for you over the next hour to get you ready for a highly anticipated 2018 Carolina Panthers season. Last week's Fan Fest at Bank of America Stadium was full of the glitz and glam and bright lights that make any kid dream of playing in the NFL. For rookie tight end Ian Thomas, it's a dream that, for many reasons, should not have been realized.
Should Ian Thomas even be in this chair right now?
Not really, but I guess.
A lot of good timing, and definitely blessed to be in this position right now, and hard work actually pays off, so definitely a blessing, and I still wonder, like, how did I really get here?
It all starts in Baltimore, city with one of the worst homicide rates in the nation. On the east side of town, where Ian Thomas grew up, there have already been 22 this year.
You just kind of get used to it. As you're younger, it's so normal to you that, like, you don't see any difference in how anyone else grows up. So.
It made having a strong family even more important. Luckily, that's just what Thomas had. He and his older brother Cliff were 2 of the 9 siblings raised by his parents, Earl and Martha.
Real sweet. I don't know, just like any other mother would be. Kind of always made sure we had everything we needed.
Her caring personality made what happened in 2004 that much harder.
It was tough.
Martha died on Ian's 8th birthday. An infection led to kidney and liver failure. Their father, Earl, suddenly a single father of 9.
Hard worker. He was definitely, like, I don't know, the enforcer of the house. So.
A disciplinarian and a guiding force, but one that also left the family too soon. 1 year after Ian's mom died, Earl died of a heart attack.
It was very tough because, you know, they were everything to us, and at that point in time, we really didn't have a lot. So once we lost them, we lost everything.
A family used to living under one roof had no choice but to split. Ian and several siblings went to live with an uncle. Cliff felt like it was not a good fit. So at 19, he made a selfless choice, seeking custody of Ian and 2 other siblings, a decision well beyond his years.
The judge actually held my case first, said she never had anyone that young come in and do what I did, and she granted me full custody.
So Cliff, not yet 20, was suddenly a father to 3 of his siblings, a role the self-described knucklehead to that point in his life took very seriously. Tough love was the only answer, and it was far from easy.
A lot of tough nights, a lot of sleepless nights. But at the end of the day, I just felt like my parents raised me good enough to handle any situation that was thrown at me.
With Cliff's guidance, Ian stayed out of trouble and starred on the football field at Digital Harbor High School. But the NFL, let alone college football, seemed far away. How big was your college offer list coming out of high school?
Like 1.
Ian ended up at Nassau Community College in New York, leaving his family for the first time. There, he worked himself into a prized recruit, landing in the Big Ten at Indiana.
Right up the middle, Ian Thomas to the end zone. Touchdown, Indiana.
And 2 years later, against significant odds, Ian Thomas was drafted by the Carolina Panthers.
Carolina Panthers select Ian Thomas.
Together, his family celebrated.
To do it for them just means the world to me, so I'm going to keep doing it to the best of my ability to make those guys happy.
Especially Cliff.
How they stuck together, you know, all the way up until the time that they passed, regardless of what they went through, arguments, fuss, fights, they were still together.
What would your child do if a stranger came up to them? Are you sure you know how they would respond? With the help of safety experts, we put several local kids, including my own daughter, to the test.
Don't go with that man.
Charlotte Mecklenburg police say it's not enough to just talk to kids about danger.
We want to test them.
They helped us put 2 groups to the test as parents, including myself, watched.
Stopping about right in here.
Our bad guy is Dave Fisher. He and his wife Karen run Rad Kids of Lake Norman. Their camps include role-playing to help kids distinguish a good stranger from a bad one.
It's something that you need to reiterate over and over and over all the time.
We placed a camera in Dave's SUV for the test, one of 4 cameras monitoring the scene. Police notified the 911 center just in case any calls came in regarding a suspicious car in the neighborhood. You could feel the tension as moms watched the action from a nearby room, anticipating what their child would do.
Oh, look, there he is. So there he is.
First, our bad guy approaches a group of 4-year-olds playing outside. My daughter was in this group.
Hi, how are y'all?
He offers them candy and cupcakes.
You come over and get some of this. Look at all the stuff I got.
In just seconds, 2 of the girls, including my daughter, eagerly greet the man at the end of the driveway.
You want a sucker too?
Our bad guy now easily within arm's reach as my daughter jumps up and down in excitement.
Within 5 seconds, one of those children they could have been gone.
I was scared.
The mom's relieved that this was just a test.
I was freaking out.
Yeah. He could have grabbed you and put you in his car and taken you away from me forever and ever and ever. That's scary.
This is just great access, folks. What you're seeing there in the smaller box, that's Mark Boyle's camera up on the riser, and you're watching the motorcade leave, of course, with the escort from CMPD and the Highway Patrol. But what you're looking at in the big box there on the right as we see the tail of Air Force One go by, that's anchor Fred Shropshire and photojournalist Mike Hansen. They've got some portable live gear, and they're actually in one of the press pool vans. We've got team coverage on every angle of the president's visit today, from that executive order he signed over at CPCC to the fundraiser. But let's first begin with our NBC Charlotte's Fred Shropshire. Fred, he is actually in the president's motorcade today.
Yeah, Fred, you all are heading out to Carmel Country Club right now.
This is remarkable, I must say, keeping in mind that this is the weekend leading into Labor Day, and keeping in mind the time of day it is, 4 o'clock. If I can ask Mike Hansen to swing his camera around, you have never seen a commute like this on I-485 this time of day, on a holiday like this. This is what it looks like when the president is in town.
But first, a story you'll only see here on NBC Charlotte. A Defender's investigation finding that thousands of men, women, and teens are currently enrolled in a program aimed at reversing homosexuality.
So-called conversion therapy is almost always led by religious leaders and is currently practiced in the form of camps, classes, and one-on-one counseling. 15 states have some law against it, but here in the Carolinas, it's still happening.
NBC Charlotte's Savannah Levin spoke with gay Carolinians who consider themselves survivors of these practices, and with local therapists who truly believe you can pray the gay away.
Having to lie, I feel, is the saddest and the ugliest part of being a homosexual. You can't go to your brother or your sister and say, I'm hurting.
Based on the way that homosexuality was addressed from the pulpit, I believe that though everyone was broken, I was a little more broken than everybody else because my particular sin was an abomination.
Joshua Crocker says he didn't want to be gay.
It was something that I had to overcome, had to get rid of, had to fix. I wanted a solution.
After 2 decades hiding his secret, he began meeting with a conversion counselor based in Greenville, South Carolina.
I believe that that was something that I might be able to experience victory over if I prayed hard enough, believed hard enough, studied the right things.
Conversion or reparative therapy, the idea that homosexuality can be fixed, has been around since the late 1800s when cures included lobotomy and castration. Today, it more often manifests in the form of faith-based camps or counseling sessions.
Those conversations with that counselor just kind of it reinforced that idea that I'm inherently gross.
Recently, the effectiveness of conversion therapy has been widely discredited and criticized. Some studies have directly linked it to suicide.
I remember driving back to my apartment, just weeping and yelling and being so angry and frustrated and sad. And I remember yelling at God while I was in my car going down the highway and just asking him why he hadn't fixed me yet. And I started thinking through where I could crash my vehicle and what bridges would be easiest to run off of and how I could do it in a way that make sure I don't make it.
We don't have to act on our feelings, and that's the message of our ministry.
Malia Allard is the executive director of New Beginning Support Ministry and a network of so-called ex-gay counselors that spans the Carolinas.
We're here for people who have faith and they have unwanted same-sex attractions or unwanted gender identity disorder.
Our message is about freedom from homosexuality through Jesus Christ.
Malia prefers to see her work as faith-based counseling for people struggling with their sexual identity rather than, quote, conversion therapy.
Do you think anyone can change that if they try hard enough?
Do I believe you can pray the gay away?
We're going to turn you all straight because you're all gay kids, and that's a problem, okay?
I believe if a person is motivated and they're willing to surrender to their Savior and trust Him, I believe He's capable of changing it.
That belief, she says, comes from firsthand experience.
I had lived as a lesbian woman from the time that I was 18 until I was about 28, but I made a choice to not act on those attractions anymore.
She says that's what her ministry is helping others accomplish.
Could you kind of talk to people who think that the church hates gay people?
If people are gay and they're happy, our ministries are not there for them. More power to you. We're happy for you that you're happy.
15 states and D.C. have some law against conversion counseling, particularly when it relates to minors. But in both Carolinas, parents can legally enroll their children in these camps and programs.
Parents will drag their teenagers into my office, and their goal is typically for me to fix them. The kid has to convince me they want to be there. They can't be being manipulated or coerced.
Human rights groups say there are still some active conversion organizations that use physical and emotional abuse in their camps and their sessions.
I'm not negating the fact that there have been some people practicing those methods that have behaved in ways that were wrong, but my ministry doesn't.
For some who have gone through it, like Joshua,
It was rough. It was rough.
the therapy was not a saving grace. It was agony.
If you could go back and talk to that 20-something-year-old guy who was driving down the road crying, begging to be fixed, what would you say?
I would tell him he's not broken and that nothing good grows in the darkness. Nothing good grows in the darkness.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
I am learning to be a full person for the first time in my life.
My life is totally transformed.
Glory, glory, hallelujah.
I really love myself, probably for the first time ever.
And now, finally, I like myself for the first time in my life.
I mean, it really finally comes down to finding one other person to love and be loved by, and you serve each other's needs.
It ain't even safe. Not even safe no more.
It was a chilling crime.
It's a brutal case, as we said.
A young mom.
She was a beautiful person. Loved her family. She loved her baby.
Murdered at a Charlotte playground.
She was found at the top of a slide there. Some kids found her who were walking through the playground. And
her throat slashed.
medical examiner says that it appears she was strangled before her throat was slashed, and it's really sad.
That's a pretty horrible way to die.
It is a horrible way to die. It's very, very sad. It's awful.
18-year-old Alkia Rogers, a former Myers Park High School student and mother to a 1-year-old little boy, was first reported missing when she didn't come home on May 21st, 2003. It was the next day the kids found her body on the slide, the park at Remount and Tryon Streets, just 1,000 feet from her family's home.
She would meet her child's father. Her child's father would supply her with diapers and other things. He actually helped take care of the baby, and he was a 17-year-old.
And she was actually going that day to meet him at the park.
That would be correct.
So the obvious first question is, was he a suspect?
Yes, he was, and he was questioned extensively, but nothing has ever been proven. He still is a suspect. There's lots of people that are suspects.
The case went cold in 2007, but Detective Williams and CMPD's cold case unit have been working it again for the last 2 years. When you say you have a lot of DNA, the victim's DNA and a potential suspect's DNA?
That would be correct.
But they don't have a match. Her baby's father's DNA not found at the scene.
We need to match it to someone, and if we match it to someone, I think we'll be okay.
He's hoping they may finally solve the case her family has struggled with all these years.
The family is asking if anybody know anything.
Anything, please.
Anything, please let the police know. This is senseless.
Usually when someone is strangled like that and cut in the throat with a knife, it's usually people that know each other.
Do you think the killer knew her?
Yes, I do, without a doubt.
A botched home renovation. Mounting debt, then you find out the background check recommended pro contractor who left the job unfinished is a convicted felon.
I feel violated. I feel let down.
Jeff and Julie Vickers tell me they used Home Advisor to recommend that contractor because Home Advisor makes these claims in their ads.
Home Advisor conducts criminal and financial background checks on their service professionals.
Home Advisor, the company that recommended a convicted felon, a man who was on supervised probation on the job, is now telling the Vickers their company has no liability in this mess. companies often cite their terms and conditions. In this case, the terms on their website say, Home Advisor does not endorse or recommend the services of any particular service professional. But wait, isn't that exactly what they do?
That matches you with background check pros for any home project.
Trusted local pros in your area.
And what'd you get?
Someone that was completely untrustworthy.
Convicted
and a
felon.
convicted felon.
It gets worse. The contractor, Kenneth Bell, lied about his criminal past to get his contractor license, which is currently under investigation. So can you really trust these services to do what they say? Tom Bartholomew is with the Better Business Bureau.
The companies do a very good job of setting an expectation level, but then once you have difficulty and end up having a problem or a complaint, you find out what is promised up front isn't being delivered on the back end.
So, 3 very important and quick tips. First, Google their name after you see it on their driver's license. Oftentimes, they'll use nicknames or even a middle name to hide from a computer search. Ask if they have a criminal record and tell them you are going to check. And ask them if they are insured, but also ask for the official paperwork showing they're insured. Then, follow up with the insurance company just to make sure.
And as I keep reading, I'm going to think about whether I
agree or disagree.
I'm going to think about that.
Lawrence Orr Elementary is not just a school, it's a home for students.
Our teachers are committed to the work. They are driven, they are focused. Most importantly, they are believers.
We really believe in our children, regardless of their background or anything else.
We are a place where we love on students, we have high expectations, and we make no excuses.
We believe that all students are able to be learners. We believe that they all will exceed.
Coming in, we had about 20%, 19% of our students performing at or above grade level. We have since tripled those scores, and during the 2017-18 school year, we were able to perform within the top 2% in the entire state.
Excellent job. You may go to your desk.
As far as academic growth measures go. So we're very, very proud of the work that our close to 1,000 babies have done over the past 3 school years, and now moving into our 4th year.
I think the best part of the success is seeing the light in their eyes.
I am proud to be here. I love this school.
The kids that you guys have, what are some of the obstacles that they face?
Well, I mean, there's so many different things that they face that happen before they even enter into our doors on a daily basis. They face a low socioeconomic status. They face the low expectations that society puts on them. They face the low belief in themselves that they come into school with. So those would be the things that I feel like we have to work against the most.
Making sure that we are looking at the right people at the right time for the right reasons, and aligning students and teachers throughout the day to make sure that not only are students learning what we call the written curriculum, but also the hidden curriculum. You know, some of those soft life skills, leadership skills. So while we certainly are teaching our students to be readers and writers and mathematicians and scientists, we're also teaching them that they are leaders in the community and that they are not to ever take second best. And so that certainly shows up not just in the way that they come to school every day, but it's now showing up as well as in how they believe in themselves and our academic gains.
A teacher also makes learning not only helpful, but fun too.
They are all very amazing because
my teachers are the best teachers in the world.
We want to thank our teachers today too, right? They've worked so hard. We have a brand new Keurig for your Teachers Lounge. We also have a brand new microwave from Lowe's, gift cards to the restaurant Chopped. For all the teachers' assistants, every single teacher is going to get a $100 gift card to Lowe's.
I can tell you, just walking in the door, listening to the principal talk, this is a very, very special group.